So we're holding on page 124. And I'm going to pick it up on column 2. So it's possible to acquire your entire world to come in one moment. What does that mean? Pirush. Whatever pleasure a human being can get in this world, even the spiritual tainug v'ganeden eldin nikar b'chinas yesh. Whatever you're going to get in this world is called a yesh. It's ego-based. So this is the whole point of the Maimon, that there's a sensation of feeling of self. This yesh, what he wants is to be to be absorbed into sho'achas, you know, I hate to say it, but on the negative side, what prompts an addict to jump into his addiction? It's a sense of just total losing of self. There's no self. You're absorbed into something higher, and you don't exist. And that's exceptionally beckoning to go do it. Now, Nadav and Avihu, when they walked into Kodesh HaKadoshim, and they didn't Aveira by walking to Kodesh HaKadoshim, what the Aveira was the yesh, they're trying to be absorbed. Like, I don't want to feel myself. I want to feel completely absorbed into godliness. That's what they wanted.
Yeah, how do you see that in the words that you're saying? How's that in the words? How do you see what you're explaining in the words that you
just said? I feel like a yesh. I feel separate from Hashem. It's lonely to be separate. B'chinas yesh zeh, this yesh is Krina Elam, acquires his world when he's bichlal, k'shenichlal b'chinas sho'achas. He says, yesh, see, let's get this straight. These are the words. Who said these words? Abelazar ben Dodaya was a Baal Tshuva, right? And he died with Tshuva. When he did, a heavenly voice came out and said, Rabbi Eliezer ben Dodaya is invited straight to Gan Eden. So what happened was, Rabbeinu HaKodesh heard the voice, and he cried, and he said, Yesh koino ilama b'sho'a echos. Which simply means some people can acquire their world in one moment. The rest of us have to work many years.
Right? Okay. The opposite is learning that
again. Translation. Yeah, he's saying to you, not yesh koino, the yesh, the sense of ego, is koino ilamoi, not... It's a complete, it's an upheaval of it's a revolutionary translation.
Yeah.
Not there is one who acquires his world in one moment and some don't. That's how you just pass it by them.
Right.
He's saying the yesh, when a person has an ego and he wants to rid himself of that and he wants to just feel to lose himself. Koine acquires his whole world, his whole concealment, if you will. When he's absorbed, b'sho'a echos. What's sho'a echos? When Hashem created the world, he created the world with one thought. And what greater feeling could there be to a yesh than being absorbed in that sho'a echos?
That's a good thing?
That's an amazing thing. Of course it's amazing. It hasn't been the Daya was
say that sho'a echos means one turn.
Yeah. One turn means Hashem created the world. Just one little turn. The whole creation is Hashem, the whole creation came about. So what he's saying is, I feel separation from Hashem. I feel distant. You know, but I think it's a very clear thing. Human beings want to, Adamu Medini, the Rambam says, right? Human beings want to be part of a wholesomeness. You don't want to be alone. People will die for their country because it's a sense of it's a greater purpose. It's an ideology. Person will do anything for his for the people he loves, for his children, for his spouse, right? It's because it's lonely to be alone. It's lonely to feel yourself. When you don't feel yourself, it's great. It's like it's just comforting. So the yesh is koine olam, he acquires his olam when b'sho'a echos.
Right. Beautiful.
When he's absorbed, what?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's magnificent.
Yeah.
It's absolutely magnificent. Again, Matchi, you get it or not? What a translation. You lose your sense of self into the sho'o echos, into the sense of oneness of the Eibishter.
I spoke about this yesterday with Blame Willem from Morristown. This piece. I went to.
What?
I just I have to speak. I just spoke about the Blame Willem. The yesh over here is a ruchnize yesh. Look what he says. What's the yesh? Beginnes taniga en vrouw besjocht is de wel gvul kabel timing is there kein geruchig and no nik yesh, right? Right. Hand gewei yesh. But how tap and that's the oisius. We're learning before that's the oisius. The oisius are very good. We don't want the oisius just. We want the pneumius and the oisius. Therefore, you have to tap into machshavachas barasoilim. So it's really a twist on what we usually learn of lesbian da'ish karanod machshavachas, which means shah means a turn, you're turning away. It's a twist in those words, not really the regular touch.
One thing, you can still say sha'achas means a turn. It's just a turn of Hashem.
But here we're talking about the shachas that when you finish up the last paragraph, that's the shachas.
No, but that also ties into what the next 5 words say. Meaning the Isis. Yeah.
Correct. Right. So you're taking all this yesh is all tumtum. We want to get inside, like he finishes off the paragraph over here.
Right. In other words, usually the Hasidic translation of Yesh Koin Elam B'Shoah Echos is also powerful. Simple meaning is, what people think is, some people get the Olam Haba in one moment. Like Elazar ben Dodaya, for his whole life, there's a very one moment he cries and to death, and he gets his will to come. The Hasidic translation is, not this one here, is Yesh Koin Elam B'Shoah Echos. Some people can acquire with one move, with Shoah Echos, with one transformation. They can acquire their connection to Hashem. And here he's saying a whole new thing. He's saying the yesh, person who feels a sense of self, even spiritually in a holy way. Yeah, he feels he wants tainug of Gan Eden, but he's koine oilamoy, which means he's absorbed. He's absorbed into he loses. We have to translate this exactly. He loses his sense of concealment oilamoy. When b'sha'ah echat, when he's absorbed into the oneness of Hashem, that means so. You see what he's saying about the song. When you sing a song, right? What do you want to achieve in a song? So you want to feel, you ever sung that song and you want to lose the words and you want to just go into that higher state, right? Where you don't feel yourself. People who get drunk, by the way, are trying to do that also. At some point you say, oh, you know, the Bachar and the thing on Purim, like, Rabbi, I don't feel, all I want is this and this. And then you realize I still feel myself. I wish I didn't have to feel myself. So what he's saying is, if you daven enough and you go again and again and again, at some point you can lose the sense of self of the ego and you get absorbed into something higher. And that's the beauty of this. This is where you're getting into the song. So now let's go back to this very enigmatic pasuk, which we say every single day in davening. We start at the beginning of this page. We say, Loi vigvoras asus yechbot, loi v'sheker ish yirtzeh. Hashem doesn't want the might of the horse, and he doesn't want the thighs of the man. He wants those who fear him, those who yearn for his kindness. What on earth does that mean? Now we know what it means. Because a horse, what's a horse? A horse is the leathers. A horse carries the rider. So when you're reading the Siddur, the horse is the leathers, and you want to get experiences riding on the words, on the letters. The desire of Hashem does not shine through merely in the letters, right? It's much more than that. If someone says all I have is Torah, then what happens? Because if all you want is the letters, you're just saying the words. You have to realize davening is an experience. It's just being communicated through letters. So but you don't see the desire of Hashem in the letters itself. And so too, doesn't want the thighs of the man. He doesn't even want, Shayki Ish is the man that's you who's riding it, and you have your thought and your intellect, which are being absorbed. You have to think about the words of davening, right? You have to really work to understand this translation over here. Hashem doesn't want the limitation of the letters. He doesn't want you to say the words and to say he doesn't even want that you should understand the words and say, fortunate are those translated, right? Fortunate are those who dwell in your homes, they will praise you forever. That's very nice. He doesn't, the desire of Hashem is not shining through over there. Hello, you want to know where it's shining? Hashem. Again, it's not that this is what Hashem wants, this is what he doesn't want. No. Where do you experience the desire of Hashem? How do you really daven? But those who fear him. Meaning, those who are completely nullified, don't exist at all. Moshe Rabbeinu in the Parshat of Beshalach says, we are what? I don't exist. It's the excitement of the soul and the essence of Hashem. So, how do you get there, right? What do you have to do to be there? Again, let's read the words. But God doesn't want the letters, the hos, and just the limitation of the letters to you say the words. He doesn't want the fires of you riding on it, which means having experiences through the words. He wants you to get to a state in davening that's absolutely one with Hashem, completely united. In a marriage, by the way, as an example, as a mashal, what do two people want with each other? What does a husband and wife want? They want to experience a complete sense of oneness. You don't want to feel, and every time one stechs the other one, and you say like a little negative line, it makes you feel detached. And you want to feel a sense of oneness. You want to feel the achdus, the experience of connection. That's what we want. Amen. So too in davening, I want to not feel myself. Amen. Take the pushka out of that, put it in the middle. Inside it. That's it. So he wants those who yearn for his chesed. I mean, what does that mean? People who don't have love of their own. Those who don't have love on their own have a yearning for dveikus. He doesn't want those who just have a love of their own. In other words, I'm trying to quench my thirst. I'm doing this because I'm doing it for me. I want to feel good. He wants people who want him. Not because it's relevant to me. You know, it's a question of when someone gets married, do you love your spouse? I mean, it's not possible to love your spouse when you get married. I mean, because you're getting married for you, not for her. Right? You want to get married. So the beginning of marriage is all about me. As you get through enough time in marriage, it becomes about the other person. It's no longer it's no longer about me, it's about you. And that's when marriage truly begins. When you're completely considering of the other person and not of yourself. So in davening, it's a similar thing. I'm davening what I want. What can I get out of Hashem? What do I get? More? And Hashem says, I want you to get to a space where it's not about you. So these words in davening, I think we have to work hard, because I don't know, it's not natural to see this in these words in davening. They're very hard words. But again, let's run through them one more time. It's based on this idea of yesh koin olam b'shor echos, that a person has an ego and a sense of self, and he loses that sense of self into the oneness of Hashem. Yesh is koin olam b'shor echos, when he gets into a space of oneness with Hashem. When it's not about me, it's about Hashem. So that's the words. There's letters, and I feel separate from Hashem in the letters. So I'm davening to Hashem, and I don't want to feel myself, I want to feel God. But I'm feeling myself, I only feel ego. So he says, God doesn't want just the limitation of the horse, which means the letters, that you just read the letters. No. It doesn't want even when you put your thighs on it, which means when you have experiences and you're meditating on it. And it's very nice, you're feeling the words, you're understanding the words, not good enough. What he wants is, he wants those who fear him and are yearning for his chesed. If you daven enough times, you stop seeing the little things in the way. You just see the bigger picture. And if you daven and you look at it, you say, what does Hashem want that I can do? It's ask not what you can do, what your country can do. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask not what you can do for your country either. That's also yeshus, sense of yesh. Ask what it is that's needed that you can make done. And then you become happy. But when you're trying to be happy, you'll never be happy. When you're not trying to be happy, you're trying to be about Hashem. That's when you get to happiness. And this explains the song of the Shira, where we sing Sus the horse and his rider were cast into the ocean. Mapshat, Pirush, the letters of Dibru Machshava, of thought and speech. So again, I'm davening every day, and I don't do history. There's no point to do history. What am I saying? Why am I saying the horse and its rider were thrown into the sea? What am I saying it for? It's a story of Kriyas Yamsuf. What I'm saying is that the letters that I was able to, just like a song, right? That's the description of that song by the Rebbe when they sang, and the whole place goes crazy. And at some point, you don't feel yourself. You literally, on Simchas Torah Day, you don't feel the sense of self because of the song. So he's saying, get the letters and the horse, and the letters of the horse and the rider, which is the experience on them, and just lose yourself into Hashem. How do you get there? The Dibur Machshava Moked Omad Yisgal. Hashem created the world of speech and thought. Those are the limitations of Hashem. Rama. Rama can mean to throw. It could also mean le'arim, to pick up. Where ad bechinas yam omad yisgal. They got to experience the concealed world of Hashem. Why? Ki ga'o ga'a. The reason they got to experience is because he rose higher and higher. What does that mean, higher and higher? Ga'o ga'a. She'ato Hashem levadech. You Hashem are alone. Nothing is compared to Hashem whatsoever. Lefono. Dark and light are the same to him. The hidden world, the concealed world is all one. So to Hashem, there's no up, there's no down, there's no dark, there's no light. Everything's godly. Therefore, so this is the space of it's a zone of again, I think for those who don't know what this is, it's the same as addiction. Addiction is when you don't feel a sense of separation and you don't feel a sense of self. It's completely losing yourself into Hashem. And this is what this is, in a positive sense, that I get to a space where I wish I could get to that space. So Rebbe says he was crying. Elazar ben Dodai reached that space. Yes, I was able to reach that space. I'm not feeling a sense of self. And I wish I could do it also. So when I daven, I'm singing the Oz Yoshi, I'm saying Sus v'roich, the letter and the content were raised up into a sense of ocean, just not feeling Hashem at all. Now, if you look at all these Mamorim, what he's teaching us is that when a person lives in a state of simcha, this is what you get to. The avoida of simcha is that no matter what happens to you, you look at it and you translate it into joy. So no matter what stress it is coming in your life, you look at it and you translate it into joy and you rise up above it. That's the avodah. We were discussing yesterday about psychology tells you this also. Still grappling with what that means, but this is Torah. And it's Chassidus.
Yeah.
But yes, psychology is a good tool. So it's a sense of Hashem levadecha. Hashem, you're alone. Remember, these are the words of davening which we're saying later on, like Baruch David. And it's all dark and light are one. And therefore, the ocean becomes dry land. And this is what it means. Through the river we pass by on the regel. What's the regel? The regel is, by foot, he's saying over here, we will rejoice in him. What does it mean in him? We'll pass the river or the ocean, because the river's lasted loving, and we'll be absorbed one with Hashem. However, who's blocking us? So the whole Oz Yosher, this is what it is. What's going on over here? The continuation of the Shira, right? The enemy, who's the enemy? The enemy is the Yetzer Hara inside you. And he's saying, no, let me chase him up. What does that mean? He says, I also want that experience of losing myself. If to Hashem dark and
He's
light,
saying which they can't get when the unique is only from the Acharaim.
no, I want to draw the Inika to the Achiraim.
You want to draw that ability to the unique of the Acharaim.
Yeah, so he's saying like that's an addiction. That's what the addiction is. There is no greater feeling to an addict than addiction. Why? Because for those when you're in a gambling state and you can go in for 72 hours and you didn't sleep for 72 hours, that's how long a person can go without sleeping, and you get delirious and you lose yourself, or you get drunk. And during that drunk, there's a stupor and there's a sense of, that's what they tell when you talk to an addict. If he gets off his addiction for a little while, and you say to him, "Isn't it so good to be sober?" And he's no. It's actually very difficult to be sober. To be sober means I have to deal with myself. The addiction, the drunk, the alcohol is the solution, not the problem. The solution is I feel myself. This is the solution. So the problem is, so who's Susveroi is in this? Now we're jumping now. Oz Yashem Shiur Hashem ki Goga. Right, let's read the song. I'm singing to Hashem because He's so above. There's nothing besides Hashem, and so I throw everything at Hashem. Most people are struggling with this challenge in life, that challenge in life. Me, my horse, and my rider were just raised into this ocean, right? And then he goes, I see God, all these things, right? Then what does he say? The enemy sees you going in the Yetzer Hara. He sees that you lost yourself into a space of a zone of a higher awareness. He says, I'm going there with you. I mean, let's get addicted. So they also want to get the achizah from there. The horse and its rider were cast into the ocean also by them. So it says in Tehillim, what's the Samaches? Einov bagoyim titzpeno. His eyes behold the nations. Excuse me 1 second. Kodesh, I don't know if I'm going to. Well, where are the name going? So he says the horse and its rider are cast into the ocean, and the Nazir Amal is why it says, I mean, let's translate this. His eyes gaze at the nations. I mean, those who go against his path, right? Ben Soramir, Al Yorumu Lomi said should not be able to rise forever. I mean, which means it's not possible to rise this way. Right? What's going to happen?
I don't understand what is Ulazeh? What's he saying there?
The enemy tries to get in also.
Right.
Again,
okay.
I'm translating this as an addiction. I mean, it's a sense of going into the ocean and not feeling yourself.
Right.
In the negative space, that's called addiction. What does that mean? If you get into that whatever you get in addiction, and you understand what that means. I mean, you lose yourself and you feel only a sense of connection to something higher.
Also,
unfortunately,
the pasuk ain't ever going to spend it means that's what they see it and they want it.
Yes. Hashem's eyes look at the nations. I mean, and he says, "Hasayirim al yorumu lo meisela." I'm not going to be able. Will not be able to rise up.
So the Ein refers to the eyes of a Kadosh Baruch Hu?
Yes. I mean, what does that mean?
The Ein the Kadosh Baruch Hu's eyes sees the Goyim Titzpenu that they want it.
They want Hashem's eyes. Ein of Titzpenu. Hashem's eyes.
Yeah.
Are looking at the Goyim. I mean,
okay.
Ein of Titzpenu bagoyim. Right. His eyes are looking at the nations.
Okay.
And he says that Sayirim, those who turn away from Hashem, will never be able, Al Yarumu Lo Moisel, never be able to rise properly. What that means is very simple.
Okay.
I mean, a guy told me that when he takes drugs, he feels good. He takes weed. Weed makes him feel very good.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Smells.
Yeah. And the problem is then afterwards you come right back down to earth.
Yeah.
It's lost. I mean, so what do? You take a bigger dose. And a bigger dose and a bigger dose. It doesn't work. You overdose. Right? It doesn't work. That's what it means. I mean, the nations don't have this elevation. They can't do it. They covered over. It's magnificent. They're trying to enter into the sea. They want to be absorbed in this high thing, and they can't. So what happens? The sea itself is what kills them. They overdose.
Yeah.
Amen. Because Hashem is above all the nations. This is exactly why they fall. Because they're trying to mechanically rise up to the state.
But shouldn't that also be indicating, not when you say the goyim, that you're talking about the sitra achra, that it also should ultimately fail?
Well, what?
You're saying here about the goyim see it and want it, yeah? But it should be that consistent with the way learning it. The goyim here should refer to the sitra achra, the Yetzer Hara sees it and wants it. And he's saying ultimately they're going to fail.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah?
You can't have addiction doesn't work. Temporary, it doesn't last. Can't do it. Addiction is not real.
Right.
It gets you absorbed into a higher thing, but doesn't stay. What does stay? When you get absorbed into a course, that stays.
Okay, so that's the difference between psychology and this.
Fascinating.
Psychology can't offer you this.
Why? Yes, it could. What do you mean? Psychology can tell you also. It could. Psychology can tell you, that that addiction, is temporary. It doesn't last.
Yeah.
So, but if you go to 12 steps and you do, and you get absorbed into, if you're not limited to your own self, you get absorbed into higher self.
Okay, it's a higher self. That higher self can't be a lakus.
Correct. But you have to be real about it. In other words, you can't. Essentially, pills are not going to do the job for you.
Right.
It has to be much more real.
Right.
So, psychology could say it, but Alter Rebbe is explaining that this is the sea. This is why. Think about it. Why would the Egyptians want to enter into the ocean together with the Jews? When you don't see they walking through dry land, you don't see that. Why are you going in? You don't realize it's ocean? So he's saying, because the enemy also wants to get inside. He also wants to feel this experience. So he's saying, no, give me this too.
Right.
On my way, right? It's spectacular. It's a whole different davening now.
Yeah.
It says, a yid able to walk through the ocean on dry land. Why? Because the water becomes a wall to you, a protective wall on your right hand, on your right side, and on your left side. Mapshat. A yid wants to be absorbed into Elokus. So let's understand, why does this work and why does the clip away not work? Chazal tell us, the will stands on three things. World stands on Torah, Avodah, and Milas Chasodim. Remember, this is how I started the mic. Right? Let's go back to the beginning, see what we're talking about. The beginning of the on the previous page, he started off and he said, what's Kriyas Yamsuf? Why did you have to have a Kriyas Yamsuf? I don't understand. They came back on the same side. What was the point? So the answer is to understand first. What happens is, and also, what was the point of Kriyas Yamsuf? If everyone was killed, they didn't know about Hashem. No one was there to know. So the answer is, it's not for them, it's for you. There's Mitzrayim in every person, every time. And you have to have Kriyas Yamsuf as part of Mitzrayim. Why is that? So I started to explain to him, because the world stands on three things. What's Avodah Korbanos? Avodah is Korbanos, offering sacrifices, right? A fire from above would come and consume the Korbanos. Once there's no Beis HaMikdash, what happens? So Chazal made it that you daven. And what's davening? Be moisa nafshay be'echad, to give your soul up to Hashem. So now the question is, to give your soul up to Hashem, right? That's davening. When there's no Beis HaMikdash, they gave us tefillah. Tefillah is the korban. So how is tefillah a fire from above coming and being absorbed into Hashem? That was the question. So he explained that the way it works is, whatever you have in dry land, you have in the ocean. The difference is, in the ocean, you don't feel yourself, and in the dry land, you feel yourself. That's the whole part. And our avodah through life is to borrow Hashem, to draw Hashem into the space. So I feel separation, I feel dry land, I want to bring Hashem down, draw Hashem into the space again and again and again. How do you draw Hashem down? So the Kohanim are doing Avodah, bring Hashem down. The Levim are singing a song. So when you sing Psukkah de Zimra is the song of connection. Like I'm singing to Hashem, I'm revealing Hashem in my life. So Ashir al Hashem ki ga'oga, I sing to Hashem, I elevate him. And that's why you say in that point, I don't feel the letters anymore. The letter and its right are just thrown into this ocean. I feel only God. I feel completely aligned with Hashem. So that explains, that's what it means. That yesh is koin elama b'sho'echad, when you get absorbed into this higher space. And that's how you daven. When you don't feel yourself. So the Klippa says, I'm also going to do this. And he tries to get you absorbed, and it doesn't work. Only works for the Kedusha. So now he ends off and he says, you want to know why it works, why getting absorbed into something higher only works for a Jew and not for the Goy? The reason is because the world stands on Torah, Avodah, and Midos Chasadim. Shubachinas Yamin Usmol.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What does Yamin Usmol mean?
I mean, Yamin Usmol is Midos Chasadim is Yamin. And Avodah is the small.
Right? And the Torah?
And Torah is in the middle.
Yeah,
I mean, he's saying that the world's a Ponzi scheme. There's nothing to it. A Yid, when he does, on the one hand, he has chesed on the one hand, the right side. He's got a wall of chesed on the one side. He's got a wall of dvur on the other side. Shall be a mitzvah and misalim b'kodesh ha'elon shemisham sheret ishmos, and the source of their souls from there. V'ruach ha'isi ruach v'amshich ruach. And one spirit draws another spirit down. That's why by them it works, and they're able to go through the dry land. The enemies are not able to rise. I think this name is unbelievable. You get what he's saying? Telling you that addictions don't work. Why don't they work? Because you don't have a base for them. You're essentially trying to manufacture an experience. That's what they do in the world. That's what we do the whole time. You want to feel. We go to. I can't. When I go to a concert, right? And you say they're like, someone tells you a little clip of a concert, and he says, look at this moment of dveikus. I'm like, that's not a moment of dveikus, because look, everyone's taking the cameras and filming it. If it's a moment of dveikus, how did you film it? Right? What this moment was. You ever be in that state, like you're singing and singing and singing, and then you see a camera, and the song just there's no dveikus there. It's artificial.
Yeah.
In order to get the horse and the rider to lose yourself into the sense of higher ocean, I don't exist. It can only be done when you have a real base to it. It has to be a real experience. So the way you do it is, you're passing through the ocean. If you pass through the ocean, if you want to get an addiction, you drink the alcohol, or you internalize the drugs, or you go into whatever gambling you're doing, and you get into this holy, incredible zone. It's unbelievable, yes. But because you don't have a wall, you're going to drown. You're going to be overdosed. That's what's going to happen. It's overdose.
Yeah.
You want to be able to do this properly? You have to put a wall on your right side and a wall on your left side. The wall on the right side is you have to be a person who's doing chesed. Again, because it's an experience. Well, how do you get to the experience? You put chesed on your right side, right? What's chesed? The avodah of yamin. You do things for Hashem. You put gvura on your left side. I mean, chesed is all the mitzvahs. So Yid's doing mitzvahs, giving tzedakah, doing the mitzvahs, right? On the right side, he puts the gvura, which is the avodah of davening. So now he's doing mitzvahs and davening. I don't know why he doesn't say the middle one, but then he's learning Torah.
Yeah.
And then, because I don't know what that is in the Yam Suf. I mean,
Right.
the way you work life is this psychology can't do. I mean, you're looking at every experience that's stressful, and you're saying, I see Hashem in this experience, I see Hashem in this experience, I see Hashem in every experience. Because it comes through avoida, that's why it works.
Well, psychology doesn't recognize a outside power. The Yad Hashem, psychology doesn't recognize.
Right,
You
right.
said-
But there's no question that psychology can tell you there's that addiction is not a good idea.
No, I
And
understand.
and because it's temporary, it's not real. And if you want to have a real relationship, you have to do the hard work of reaching yourself, internalizing yourself. That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
He's saying
but when you said the other day, I asked you why does I don't remember where it was, why it had to start with, the whole Eloy, so the whole Stalstus. What did the Alter Rebbe have to give that? The bottom line was because she went all the way back to the Chachman Atzilus to say the thing that's happening has its source Lamaila. That psychology can't tell you.
Which part?
The fact that there's that what happens is a decree from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Right? When someone throws the rock at you, it's not the person. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants the rock thrown at you.
Right.
Psychology can't tell you that.
Okay. Now, I want to just see what we've done over here, and I want to read the word. I took a siddur. I'm opening up Hallelujah. If you look at the Hallelujah, let's read it now. So we say in Hallelujah in the middle, get into these words. Loivig verse associated. Doesn't explain why it's in the middle of this kapitel, but Hashem doesn't want, I'm reading the letters of davening, and I say Hashem doesn't just want me to read the letters of davening, because the words of davening or the chotzos are going to bind me to Hashem. I have to write them. Hashem doesn't want me to maintain only the hos. And what does he want? Lo v'sheikia Shiur. He says, I'm going to put some words in davening, I'm going to daven the Pirush Midas, I understand what I'm saying. Hashem says, no, I don't want that either. What does Hashem want? He wants me to go, you have to stop. That's a process. He wants those who fear him. He wants a Jew who gets into davening and he says, Hashem, I want a relationship with you and forget everything else. All I want is you, and nothing but you. And he's yearning for Hashem's chesed, and he's yearning to be absorbed in the ocean of Hashem. So that's the sus v'roichvoi. The sus and the sheikia ish is elevating into the ocean. Okay. Now, what does have that word? You get to Vaybarach later on, and you say, nothing is all wealth and covet is all yours. You rule of everything. And then Hashem, you're alone. There's nothing besides you. And my avodah is that when the place where I don't see you, I don't notice Hashem, I say it's you, and only you. And I want to say it every moment. I want to realize it's only Hashem. Right? That's how I get caught into the ocean. So now when I finish this whole psuk in the Zimra, I get to Oz Yashir. Now let's read the words. So Moshe and Israel sing. What do they sing? I'll sing because Hashem is not God of the world. The world is nothing in comparison with him. The world is garnished, doesn't exist. So there's me over here happening, and my horse, and it's right, all the content is just thrown into this ocean. It's only Elokus. In other words, wait, to get this reality is that no matter what stress happens, it's all gone. And I let go of everything. So you say, Hashem, I see God in everything. Hashem is fighting for me. Now comes the Markabes Paya. They get thrown into the ocean and they're looking to fight me. And you go boom, 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 all the thing, and you go, oh my God, yeah, the enemy says, the Mitzri says, I'm going to get filled with those. It's going to fill my soul too. He says, I love this experience that you're doing. I'm going to do it also. Right? So I'm also going to do it, and he tries to get you into an addiction and to get you. He says, yes, it's great idea not to be absorbed into, not to feel yourself. The Yid says, what you don't realize, Mr. Mitzri, is that you are thrown straight into the ocean. The reason why, we don't say these words in davening, by the way, but these are the key words. Right? We say later on in Ubenei Yisrael, because a Yid doesn't manufacture this artificially. He puts on his right side a wall, chesed. He puts on his left side gevura. What's the chesed? An attachment to Hashem. He's doing mitzvahs. He's doing mitzvahs all around. He's encompassing his life. On the left side, he's davening to Hashem. So it's becoming real. It doesn't feel real because it feels. I don't know why he doesn't say the third one. Because in the Maimer, he says, Al shloisha dvarim lo, right? Yeah. So if you look, that's how he started the Maimer. Because if you want to have experiences of godliness all the time, you have to be a Yid who's shemet Torah mitzvah and sees Hashem in everything. Because if you look at the beginning of the Maimer, he says the world stands on three things. Al Torah, V'Aved, and Chasadim. In other words, you can't reach a higher level by trying to manufacture it. That's like the plishtim, just going to trying to get the joy without the work. If you do the Torah avodah on Midas Hasadim, he said it over here. He says, but then he says, Yaminu small. He doesn't talk about the third one, but it's there. Maybe the third one is that you're walking through the ocean, the direct walk. There's a wall on the right, wall on the left, and you got to walk.
It has to correspond to Torah somehow.
Because it means I'm learning Torah and I'm seeing what Hashem wants me to do. If you learn a Maimer down, right? Now you know how to walk through the ocean. You got it. You know how to walk through the ocean. Yeah. So every experience, when you lose yourself, it's that high experience, Elokus is revealed. That's the bottom line. What a Maimer. It's just incredible. Can you imagine writing this Maimer down?
Okay.
Unbelievable. All right.
Have a good day.